I didn't notice it the first night because there was nothing unusual about the evening. Everything felt normal. The same quiet street, the same still air, the same routine I had followed for years. I locked my doors, turned off the lights, and went to bed without thinking twice about anything outside my window. Because where I live, nothing ever happens. The nights are calm, almost too calm. The kind of silence that feels peaceful at first until you sit with it long enough to realize how empty it really is. I woke up sometime after 2 a.m., not because of a sound and not because of a dream, but because of a feeling, something subtle, something I couldn't explain. Like my body had decided to wake up before my mind could understand why I lay there staring into the darkness, letting my eyes adjust to the faint outlines of my room. Everything looked the same. Nothing. It moved, nothing seemed out of place, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. After a few seconds, I turned my head toward the window. At first, I thought it was nothing, just a trick of the light, or maybe something my tired eyes were misinterpreting. But then I focused, and that's when I saw it. There was someone standing outside across the street, completely still. I remember narrowing my eyes, trying to make out details. But the distance and the darkness made it impossible. It was just a shape, a human shape standing under the dim glow of a streetlight, not moving, not shifting, not doing anything at all. I told myself it was probably nothing. Maybe someone on their phone, maybe someone waiting for a ride, maybe someone who had nowhere else to go. I watched for a few seconds longer, expecting some kind of movement, something to confirm it. Yeah, I was normal, but it didn't move. Not even slightly. Eventually, I turned away, because the longer I stared, the more uncomfortable I felt, and I convinced myself I was overthinking it. I went back to sleep the next night. I woke up again this time. I didn't check the time because I already knew it would be around the same hour. It felt the same as before, that quiet pull out of sleep, that strange awareness that something wasn't right, and before I even looked toward the window, I felt it. That same presence waiting. I turned slowly, almost reluctantly, like part of me already knew what I would see, and it was there again. But closer, not across the street. This time, it was standing on the sidewalk, directly in front of my house, perfectly still facing my window. I froze. I didn't know why, but something about the way it stood there felt intentional, like it wasn't. Just passing by, like it wasn't random. It felt like it was there for a reason. For me, I stayed completely still in my bed, barely breathing, watching it through the glass, expecting it to move at any second. But it didn't. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. I couldn't tell. Eventually, I forced myself to look away, because the longer I stared, the heavier the feeling in my chest became. I didn't sleep much after that. The next morning, I checked outside. There was nothing. No footprints, no signs of anyone being there, no evidence at all that what I saw had actually happened, and that should have made me feel better, but it didn't, because it didn't explain anything that night. I made sure everything was locked more carefully than usual. I checked the doors twice, then a third time. I even checked the windows, even though I knew they were closed when I finally went to a bed. I told myself I wouldn't look this time. No matter what happened, I wouldn't check the window. But around 2 a.m. I woke up again, and the feeling was stronger, heavier, like something was closer than before. I kept my eyes on the ceiling, trying to ignore it, trying to force myself to go back to sleep, but my body wouldn't let me. It felt like every instinct I had was telling me to look, so I did slowly, carefully, and my heart dropped. It was closer again, standing at the edge of my yard, just beyond the path leading to my front door. Still completely still facing my window. I could see more of it now. Not details, but shape, height, proportion enough to know it wasn't just my imagination. It felt real. Too real. I didn't move. I didn't make a sound. I just watched. And for the first time, I had the overwhelming feeling that it knew I was awake. That it knew I was looking at it, and it didn't care because it didn't move. Not once. The next few nights followed the same pattern. Every time I woke up, it was closer from the yard to the walkway, from the walkway to the front step. Always at the same time, always completely still, always facing my window. I stopped sleeping properly. I started leaving the lights on. I kept checking the locks over and over again. But none of that changed anything, because every night it came closer until the night it reached the door. I woke up before I even opened my eyes, because I could feel it right outside, closer than it had ever been. I didn't want to look, but I had to. I turned my head toward the window and it was gone. The space in front of my house was empty for a moment. I felt relief, like maybe it had finally stopped, like maybe it was over. But then I heard something, a soft sound from downstairs near the front door. Not loud, not aggressive, just present, like something shifting or adjusting. I sat up slowly listening, trying to convince myself it was nothing, but the sound came again, slightly clearer this time, and that's when I realized it wasn't outside anymore. It was at the door. I didn't go downstairs. I couldn't. I stayed in my room, frozen listening, waiting. The sound stopped after a few minutes, and the silence that followed was worse, because it felt like something was still there, just not making noise anymore. I don't remember falling asleep, but I must have. Because I woke up the next morning in my bed, everything looked normal. The house was quiet, nothing seemed out of place. But when I went downstairs, the front door was unlocked. I know I locked it. I always lock it, but it wasn't locked anymore, and I didn't remember. On unlocking it that night, I didn't sleep at all. I stayed awake watching, waiting, listening, and for a while nothing happened until around 2 a.m. when I heard it again this time. Not from the door, but from inside the house, a slow, deliberate sound like footsteps moving carefully somewhere beyond my room. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just listened as the sound got closer and closer until it stopped right outside my door. There was a long pause and then a soft sound, not a knock. Not quite just a light touch against the door, and then something I will never forget. A voice, quiet, calm, almost familiar from the other side, asking, "Are you awake?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. The handle moved slightly, just enough to let me know it wasn't locked, and I don't remember unlocking it. The door slowly began to open and I closed my eyes, pretending to be asleep, because I knew if I looked, something would be there, and I didn't want to see it. The door creaked open just a little, and then everything went silent again. No footsteps, no movement, just the feeling that something had entered the room. I don't know how long it stayed, I don't know when it left, but when I finally opened my eyes, the room looked exactly the same, except for one thing. The window was slightly open, and I know I didn't open it now every night. I still wake up at the same time. And even when I don't look, even when I keep my eyes closed, I can feel it somewhere inside the house. Waiting, not rushing, not chasing, just getting closer. And sometimes right before I fall back asleep, I hear that voice again, soft, patient, right next to me, asking if I come in. Will you look this time? And now, even during the day when the sunlight fills the room and everything, I should feel normal. There is still a part of me that doesn't feel alone, because sometimes when I pass by the window, I catch myself hesitating just for a second, as if I expect to see it standing there again, not at night, not in the dark, but in the daylight, perfectly still, waiting in the same place where it first appeared. And even though I never actually see it during the day, the feeling doesn't go away. It lingers quietly in the back of my mind, like something unfinished, like something that hasn't reached the point. It was always moving toward and at night, when the world goes silent again and the house settles into that same heavy stillness. I find myself lying awake longer than I should, listening to every small sound, every shift in the walls, every faint movement that might not even be real, and I tell myself over and over again that I won't look. That I won't check the window, that I won't give it the attention it seems to want, but somehow, every time I wake up at that exact moment without fail, my body turns toward the window before I can stop it. Like something inside me is responding to something outside, and even on the nights when I keep my eyes closed and refuse to look, I can still feel where it is. I can sense the distance without seeing it. Like I already know how far it has moved since the night before and the last time I tried to ignore it completely. The last time I forced myself to stay facing away from the window, pretending none of it was real. I felt something change. The air in the room felt different, heavier, closer, and for the first time since this started, I didn't feel like it was outside anymore. I felt like it had already reached the house, like it had already crossed. Whatever distance had been separating us all those nights, and as I lay there pretending to be asleep, I felt the faintest shift somewhere near the door. Not a sound exactly, more like a presence moving into place. And even though I didn't open my eyes, I knew exactly where it was standing, and I knew that if I looked, I wouldn't see it through the window anymore because it wasn't out there. Now it was inside, and somehow that felt like something it had been working toward from the very beginning, not rushing. Not forcing its way in, just moving closer, night after night, until there was no distance left between where it stood and where I was. And now every night feels different now. When I wake up, I don't feel like I'm looking for something outside anymore. I feel like I'm listening for something inside, waiting for that same quiet moment when the house goes completely still. And something shifts just enough for me to notice. And sometimes when I finally fall asleep again, it doesn't feel like sleep anymore. It feels like waiting, like I'm holding my place until the moment I wake up again and find out just how much closer it has come. And the worst part is I don't think it's getting closer to the house anymore. I think it's getting closer to me.